Alrighty, students, let's begin our lesson. So we're going over sections 6.5 and 6.6 today. The first one is proportions and percents, and then we'll look at percents and equations. So the first thing you're going to want to copy down is this example right here and these two little examples over here. These aren't really examples. These are more of like formulas for what we're going to do. So we've already done examples like this one right here. We're told to find the percent of a number. I'm going to show you two ways. One, the equation way is like the way we've done before, while the other method is a little different. And you need to learn both of them because they do have advantages to both of them. But let's just go ahead and get started. Some people like one or the other. After you've seen how both work, I'll let you choose which one you want to use in class. So, look at both of these and pay attention so that when you come to class, you can tell me which one you like better. So the proportion method works like this, where you have this percent over 100. You look and find if you have a percent anywhere in here, and we do. So we take that 80. 80. So we were going to draw an 80. And we put it over 100. 100 is the constant number that's there all the time. Put it equal to, this is over of, or you could say part over whole. It's originally supposed to be part over whole. But some students struggle knowing like, okay, is that part or is that a whole? I don't know. That's why we use this first one most often, is over of. Find the word is or of. There's the word of. What number is next to it? 245. Well, that's your of, and of goes on the bottom. There is no is in this one. If there isn't any, or if there is, and the is next to the what, that is your x, okay? So put it there. So we could reduce this, and then like we've done stuff like this before. We've solved proportions before. So just reduce this, and then cross multiply. So you could have this, and we could reduce this to 4 over 5, cross multiply. If you were to cross multiply these numbers together, you would end up with 5x is equal to 980, okay? And then if you were to know what to do next, I hope you all do know what to do next, you should divide by 5, so you would get x is equal to 196. Look back over that if you need to see that again just to make sure you understand what's going on. Hopefully you remember using proportions before. All right, next we have what percent of 40 is 30. So looking up at the thing you have on your notes, you should be able to create a proportion. So what percent? So do you see a percent anywhere in here? I see the word, but I don't see a number percent anywhere. So that means my percent is missing. That's the thing I'm looking for, because what percent? So I'm going to put my x where my percent sign goes. Over 100 is equal to is over of. You see is, and you see how it's closer to 30, and of is right next to 40. So you can go ahead and put 30 over 40, all right? And if you were to reduce, you could reduce this to 3 over 4. You could cross multiply, and you would end up with 4x is equal to 300. Then we need to divide by 4. Divide by 4. Well, 300 divided by 4 is going to give us x is equal to 75. And that becomes our answer. Okay? All right, moving on. Here we have example 3. We have 310 is 50% of what number? So this time we have our 50%, which our 50 goes over our 100, right? And it's equal to, and this, see how this is next to is, and the of is next to what? So I don't know what of is, but I know what is this. So now we could reduce again. Reduce this to 1, reduce this to 2, because 50 goes into it 1 time, 50 goes into this 2 times. Cross multiply, you would get 1x, or just x, is equal to 620. And that becomes your answer after you cross multiply, okay? So that's how simple it is to work these types of problems using proportions. If you need to, like I said, go back over it, look over it carefully, see if you understand it all. All right. So the next one we're going to take a look at is this. It is percents and equations. So here we have percents and equations. So using kind of the similar stuff before, we're not going to set up proportions, we're just going to write this as an equation, which means we're going to have an equal sign and a variable in it. Kind of like we did before, but not fractions, okay? So we see what number is. The what number is our variable. So we get a variable. Is equal to. Now when you do an equation, you have to change 60% to a decimal. Kind of like we did when we did the whole finding the percent of a number. We had to turn it to a decimal. So you're going to put a 0.60 of is times, so we say times 40. This is one of the nice ones because we have the number on the same side as the what would you call it? The numbers on the same side of the equal sign together, so we can find out what x is easier this way. So I'm going to come over here and just do my math and put my my there. So that times that is going to give me just the zeros, get 0 zeros. So I'm going to do my second one with my 6, and I'm going to get my 6 times that is 0. Oh, sorry. You put the other 0, then 6 times that is 0. 6 times that would be my 24. And since I have two numbers past the decimal, I need to bring my decimal up 2 places. So the answer is x is equal to 24, okay? So that's what we get there. X is equal to 24. Yeehaw. Now over here, we have 39. 39 is what percent of 260? So let's find out. So this is simple. We say 39 is equal to equal. What percent is our x? Of is times. And then we have our 260. So some number times this equals that. So we need to find out what this is. So remember, when you have an equation and you need to find out what x is, you got to get rid of all the numbers around it. We got some numbers around it. We have to get rid of them. We do the opposite of what it tells us to do. It says multiply. We say, well, we're going to divide. So we divide by 260. We divide by 260. So we go ahead and come over here and make our long division. We say I have 260 on the outside, 39 on the inside. You should be able to tell what we're doing right here to come over here. So we multiply back, not multiply back, we just see what can go into it, can't do it. Put our decimal, put your 0 there. It can go in there 1 time. So multiply back and you get the 2, that. So we end up subtracting, you end up with 130. Bring down that. I believe it'll go in that number right there 5 times. So multiply back and you would get the whole 13. Yes, there we go. So voila, we end up with that number right there. And that worked out perfectly. So we have this 0.15. Now that's what x equals, but remember we need to write this as a percent because it says that. So if we have 0.15, what is that as a percent? Well, that would be 15%. Make sure you remember you move the decimal back 2 places after you convert it to a decimal, which we did get a decimal. We get it to a percent now, okay? So that is the actual finished answer right there. All right, next we have 88% of what number is 22. So we have 0.88 times, we don't know, it says of what? X is equal to 22. We'll need to find out now. So once again, we're going to need to divide by whatever number is on the same side of the equal sign with the x. So this is the equal sign. That's what the x is. Got to get rid of the 0.88. It tells us to multiply. We say, well, we're going to divide to get rid of it. Okay? So now we have x is equal to, now this is a decimal, so we have to be careful not to make a mistake here. So we're going to have 0.88 goes into 222. Move the decimal over 2 places because it makes our job a whole lot easier. Same for this one, move it over 2 places, have to annex those zeros. 88 cannot go into 22, but it can go into 220. It can go in there a total of 2 times. Put our decimal there, so multiply back, and you would get 16, you would get 16, 60, 70, 176. So we subtract here, like the borrow, do some borrowing, that becomes a 1, that becomes a 10. Subtract, so you get 4. Multiplying back, you would get, I'm multiplying back, that's a 1, then you borrow from there again, you get 11, subtract, you get 4. Yeah, this is going to work out easily. So you get 44, bring down a 0. Well, that can go into that 5 times, and it goes in there perfectly. Look at that. So you have 0.25 right there. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot we don't have 0.25 because I moved the decimal over. That's my mistake. We're supposed to just have 25 because we had moved the decimal over here. The decimal is now there, so the decimal's there. Okay, so you should just get 25 is what you should get. And that's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed the video.